Welcome to Hopscotch-N-Jacks,
a podcast where we take our inner child
back to school to unpack and unlearn
the lessons that shaped us to better ourselves
and our futures. I'm Karen.
And I'm Justice.
Let's go. And now it's time for our morning announcements.
Did you grow up in a home that lacked peace, structure, and predictability? Did you ever experience not knowing where your next meal was coming from? Do you know what it's like to have a parent who is undependable or unconventional? Then you might relate to the series on Netflix called Ginny Georgia.
This episode will highlight some key life experiences that we witnessed during the third season and how the characters Ginny, Georgia, Max, and Marcus transformed from season to season.
Now, our core curriculum today is going to be focused on psychology. One of the great things about Ginny and Georgia is that there are flashbacks. Just like how we unpack our own experiences, we can see the events that influence today's unmet needs, sense of security, and trust issues in this series.
And if you want to check out what we're talking about, make sure you watch Ginny and Georgia on Netflix, where all 3 seasons live.
Mm-hmm.
So because we're seeing these flashbacks, we can identify the characters as they develop these coping mechanisms and habits. And in turn, we can reflect back on our own childhood experiences and traumas.
Yes. And so before we break into the core curriculum, please be aware and take note. We are not therapists.
No.
We are not licensed psychologists.
Mm-mm.
We cannot solve any of your problems. This is purely for our own growth, as well as hopefully providing you guys some information that can help you as you journey to heal your inner child.
Yeah, we're your student teachers.
Student teachers, and
we're learning as you're learning.
Exactly. So let's get into it.
Let's go. So with Ginny and Georgia, it seems like Georgia is cultivating a codependent relationship with her children. Both Ginny and Georgia have a sense of instability and abandonment and emotional neglect. Would you say that?
I would definitely agree. Even though they're experiencing it in different times in their lives, Georgia being the mother, she experienced it as she was a child. And now Ginny being the child and the teenager, she is now experiencing it from the parent that was trying to overcome these sense of insecurities of instability and abandonment herself. So I find it interesting that, she's trying to do everything she can to give her kids a better life, but yet in the process, she's repeating patterns that she hasn't been able to fully eliminate out of her growth herself, because I don't think she's taken the time to look at herself and do the work.
Yeah, I don't think that she has the capability. Like, she has the capability if she does the work, but I don't think that Georgia recognizes that she needs work. There was a scene where Ginny brings Georgia to therapy with her, and Georgia was completely like, you're blaming me for things. I am good. I am a good parent. I show up for my kids in the way that my parents didn't show up for me.
Yeah.
So she was actually, very resistant to that.
I experienced this growing up, where if you confronted a parent to explain to them, look, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
It becomes, or you're just a child. You don't know what you're talking about.
Children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah. And like this huge defense mechanism comes up. And as a child, you start thinking, can I not question how I'm feeling?
Yeah.
If I'm trying to express to my parent, hey, this doesn't make me feel good. This makes me feel some kind of way. And they are so quick to chop your head off.
Yeah.
Or say, go get the belt. Then it's kind of hard for you to extinguish those feelings yourself as an adult and break those patterns. I do see a pattern in the sense that she's a young adult. Mm-hmm. She was a kid having a kid, speaking of Georgia. And so her response would be the correct response as being so defensive. Because I think when you are a baby having a baby, you're trying to navigate this life and try to put on your adult shoes and adult pants and all that stuff. And you weren't taught how to do all of this.
Right.
You're going to be defensive because that's what kids are when they're like, I don't know. I tried, but, well, maybe you didn't tell me the rules. Or, they're finger pointing. That's what kids do, right? Yeah. And so Georgia is a mother, but she's also a very young mother. Mm-hmm. And so for her to get so defensive in therapy, that's a sign of emotional growth that she has yet to explore herself.
Emotionally immature. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's true. I think Georgia is like a very strong toxic influence on Ginny. And, by the end of the season, we see that Ginny is starting to become her mother.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Would you agree? I mean, definitely. The way she was dressed, it very much felt like Georgia 2.0.
Yeah.
The Blackish version.
And that's the natural, it's not even a coincidence. It's just a natural thing to do.
Yeah. Like, sometimes you become your parents.
Yeah. So
if you're not aware of it and you're not working to change that.
Yeah, it becomes one of those situations. And because she is a toxic influence, she's also impacted Ginny in the sense of her doing bodily harm to herself.
Yeah.
And so, when you're a child and if you're not getting this attention that you're looking for, that you're seeking, that you need, these unmet needs, sometimes in order to deal with the things that you're not understanding in your head, you rationalize it by doing harm to yourself. So in this instance, she's cutting herself. And
no, she's burning.
No, you're right. She's burning. Why did I say cutting?
Because that's a thing that people do. The redhead, the one who is bulimic, she cuts herself.
She cuts herself. Ooh, damn.
Self-harm multiple ways. This show has a lot of things to unpack.
Very. And both of them are dealing with...
Watch with your therapist.
Yeah. So why do you think... What's the emotional disconnect that she has that she feels like she needs to burn herself?
I think from what I've learned about people who do self-harm, a lot of times it's because it emotionally is so painful that they can't get away from it, that they have to do something physical so they can ignore the emotional pain.
And they can feel the pain elsewhere.
Yes. Mm. That's what, from what I've heard. I've not done a lot of research on it. So
yeah. I think, in a sense, Georgia is also doing self-harm. Mm. It's not a traditional way of doing self-harm by physically cutting yourself. Mm-hmm. Or burning yourself. I feel like she's doing self-harm but from jumping from man to man. Because she lacked that attention as a child and that support and that male figure to protect her. She continues to jump in these relationships with these men who don't really care about her. Some of these men are looking at her because she does look young, right? And
I mean, she is young.
She is young. And
she's like 33.
She's 30, yeah. And they were taking advantage of her. It's like, no, you're going to stay, cook, you're cleaning, you're going to do me when I tell you to do me.
Yeah.
And even though in her eyes, she was doing this to keep a roof over her head for her kid, that was self-harm that she was putting herself into.
I see where you're coming from with that, and I don't totally disagree, but I think that the harm is mostly to the men. It's not self-harm.
Not all the men.
Not all the men. She doesn't actually harm all of the men, but she is the mayoress murderess. So I do think that, she's the likelihood of her hurting herself is, slim because she will take a mother out. But
Why are
yeah,
we laughing about that?
It's a TV show, and we can.
Yeah,
That's
we
why.
can. Yeah.
If it was real, I would laugh less. I promise you. But
And then we find out this is based on
a real story.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I see what you're saying, but I think it's much more of a survival instinct. Like these men that she's jumping from, they're resources.
Mm-hmm.
They're a way for her to survive and help her kids survive. And, I do think that there is an element of self-harm in that, because you're not taking care of yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors by not, by depending on other people for your survival. But I think that she's definitely the major influence in why Ginny is doing it. And I don't want to put it all on Georgia. I think her father has an influence on that too. Like what he does, he's a photographer. He spent most of her childhood, the vast majority of her childhood, going to different countries and spending time with other people and not his own kids. So, she's the major influence, but he takes some accountability for that too.
He does, but I feel like Georgia put him out. I mean, she left him.
He left her, and she said, I'm not going to stay and wait for you to come back.
I thought she left him.
In the flashback, we see him saying, oh, I'm going to Kenya. And that's the first time he leaves. Like, I don't know. I can't remember what happened prior to. It's like Ginny is like 8 years old and Austin is a baby. And he gets the job in Kenya and he says, I'll be back. And Ginny and Georgia and Austin are both gone, are all three gone when he returns.
But it wasn't his intention.
It wasn't
for
his intention.
him not to be there.
Yeah.
She got up and left.
He wanted to gallivant around the world, and she was not going to wait.
But that was his first time getting a real job.
Yeah, I can't give him too many passes on that.
I didn't.
You
think
have
he
a
did
child.
Anything wrong? I personally think, I mean, this happens with entertainers and people in this field. It's like, if you have to travel, you have to travel. And he didn't come across as, I'm traveling, I'm giving up my responsibilities as being this child's father. Mm-hmm. It was more about like, I'm trying to help make it ends meet. And, her relationship with him and his family, she always felt like his family, even though they were trying to nurture her and try to be supportive, she felt like they were trying to take control and take away her kids.
Yeah.
And so I felt like she
has trust issues like a mug.
And so I think she saw this as an out. Well, you're not going to be here and and I don't want to be this burden to you. And so you go live your dream and then I'll just leave so that your parents not going to take over my kids and take control over this situation, because they saw their son, who was a kid, having a kid.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think he was doing anything malicious in the sense of trying to make the bread to feed his family.
It was certainly not malicious. I'm just not going to give him a pass for it.
Okay.
Like you have a responsibility. You have a child who is, still in grade school. You either need to make the effort to have her come to you, have the family travel with you, or just to be present more. The fact that he had no idea that they were homeless and living in the car, like, to me, that's not an excuse.
But that was also Georgia's manipulation.
Absolutely. He
chose to believe her lies. Let's put it that way. He chose so that we can meet in the middle.
I was meeting in the middle.
He chose to, even if he didn't know that they were living in the car, he may have had a fatherly instinct that something wasn't right. And he chose to ignore that gut feeling and put the trust into her that everything was going well. I mean, remember, he didn't even know that she was married before him.
Yeah.
And didn't even know that there were some other men after him. So there was a lot of stuff that she kept away that it wasn't until the third season a lot of stuff started coming to light.
Yeah.
And it's like, who is this woman?
Yeah. And,
it's just because she was trying to control everything.
Yeah.
But why?
Why was she trying to control everything? Because she didn't have control as a child. It all comes back to that inner child, that inner child that had an unmet need And so she's now trying to fill that need with other things. And that is control. Yeah. Like a lot of the things that happened that she did was because she was losing control and she had to find a way to get it back. Yeah. But like I said, it's not me giving her a pass, or I'm just not willing to give either one of them. They're both parents. They both have to show up. Period.
Yeah, and I think one of those main things that was missing, that she was always trying to have control of, is that stability and that sense of home.
Yeah.
And that is the same issue that Ginny has, because her mom has moved her from hotel to hotel, from man to man home to car to car. Mm-hmm. She has never felt like she had a place to call home.
No.
And in part, that also breaks down her identity crisis. She's biracial. She's trying to deal with a lot of things, but never a steady place for her to unpack all this stuff.
Right.
It's just swallow your feelings and just keep moving. And I find it interesting that they both are looking for home, even if it's looking for home within themselves, which I think you hit on. She's the parent, so she should be parenting, but she also looks to her children to help with the parenting and help with making things feel like a home.
Yeah. I mean, as they grow up, you generally expect kids to pitch in. And unfortunately, by the end of the third season, they have pitched in ways that no kid should ever have to. Like, I think Austin is about to turn into his daddy. And that's going to be terrible for him. And every woman that ever has to deal with him.
That's true.
But who else? Who else we want to talk about?
Let's talk about Ginny's friend, Maxine Baker.
Not her bestie?
Not her bestie. I don't know if she has a bestie yet. She has
she had one, but their relationship has changed quite a bit.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Maxine. Maxine's her neighbor. She lives across the street. She's like one of the first friends that she made when they moved to this new location. Where did they move to?
Wellesley. I feel something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Small town Midwest.
Yeah. Some people view Maxine online as a narcissist. Her character portrays someone that overreacts to situations and is always trying to be the center of attention, right? And even though the friends on the show has not used that word specifically, they feel like she is a problem friend that no one wants to be bothered with because of her intense reactions to the situations. In retrospect, I don't think she's a narcissist. Do you?
No, I don't. For one thing, she's a teenager, and a common trait amongst teenagers are that they are self-centered. Mm-hmm. They think the world revolves around them. And two, this is probably just like a strong indicator of an unaddressed inner child need. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that she's seeking validation and attention.
I can sense that. I mean, there was a situation in the flashback where she wasn't getting the attention from her mom when she was trying to sing her lemonade stand song. Mm-hmm. And then her mom made her change her attention towards her brother and play the role as
include him
and to make him feel important.
Yeah.
So in that situation, not only did her mom dismiss her, that she redirected her attention to her brother and gaslit her in a sense to say, you need to be here for your brother and protect him because you're the one that has all the friends.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like her inner child that's been unaddressed is the needy inner mm-hmm. child. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that a big part of Max's problem is her brother, and the fact that her brother is someone who is an introvert, I guess we'll say, and she's the extrovert. He's the one who's likely to be left behind, and her mother gives her that directive And I think it really changed her world. Like, not only is she the type of kid who's like doing things to get attention. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. That's literally what kids do. Like, there's a phrase that we hear and have heard in commercials forever. Look, ma, no hands. Or look at me, ma. Like, that is
or
the
mommy,
thing.
wow, I'm a big kid now.
Exactly. It's like we do things for the approval of our parents. And she's just kind of that kid. And instead of her mom recognizing it, like the entire time she's trying to show the dance, the mom is talking to a friend. She says, yes, I'm listening. Watch my kid do this thing. And immediately is like, I wonder if the mom has some issues, honestly.
Yeah, and then Maxine lashed out a little bit, did the little upset, which she does.
She storms
as a
out. Yeah, she keeps that same behavior. Like, it starts young, and unless you are aware of it, and as a kid, you're never going to be aware of it. You're never going to be able to regulate yourself like that. It really is incumbent upon the parent to try to instill that type of, good behavior, I guess. I don't want to call it good behavior because it's literally something that we as kids we're prone to do, to seek out the attention of our parents. That helps us to feel safe and loved. And she is not getting that because her mom is more concerned with whatever she was talking to the neighbor about. She was more concerned with Marcus feeling included. She was more concerned with everything except the thing that Max needed was her attention.
Yep. And with that, that sense of abandonment comes about. Like, she's feeling abandoned, even though her mom is present.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people would need to, take note of, is that just because you're physically there doesn't mean you were there.
Yeah.
And that is the silent abandonment that most people don't see and understand. And it's the weirdest thing to be in the same room with somebody and feel like you're not in the same room with them.
Yeah. That's the thing. The funny thing is, I meant to say this when we were talking about Ginny and Georgia, and I'm not really going back, but I want to say that the emotional neglect thing, like the reason Georgia was so resistant to what was happening in therapy, the thing about it is, it's sometimes the present parent who you have to talk about the most in therapy. I won't tell you how I know that. It was a revelation to me, honestly, when I went to therapy, when I was like, oh, okay, so it's the one who I love. Why are you allowed to say which one you love the most?
I mean, if it's the truth. I mean, I can say it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one. It's funny that it's sometimes the parent you're the closest to, the one who you have the most memories with, the one who took care of you in a way that perhaps the other one didn't, that you might have the most to say about. It was a revelation for real. But yeah, not to go back to Ginny and Georgia, but to say that I think that Max and Marcus's mom probably thinks that she's doing all the right things, but she's not if she's more concerned with things that are not for the best well-being of her kid. But yeah, it's interesting to see that depicted in a show. And I wonder if they're actually going to address it head on, or if they've done all they're going to do.
Yeah.
Max is doing all the things that we might look at as positive for a kid. She's not getting in trouble. She's getting good grades. She's active in school. She's in the drama club. She's doing all of these positive things that are supposed to bring her positive attention, but she's not getting that.
Yeah, from the ones that she loved the most, like her parents.
Even her friends.
I mean, they're showing up to the performance. They show up to the performance, but at the end of the day, I feel like she's always trying to put this mask on, like being the perfect child.
Yeah.
And she feels that pressure, and I feel like she feels that pressure is because she's trying to compensate for certain insecurities that she has.
Yeah.
And those insecurities, I feel, come from the fact that she always has to show up for her brother. She has to hide the stuff that her brother's doing so that her parents aren't seeing her brother in those lenses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her friends are going through things, and so she has to be the light for them, even though they're not receiving it in that way. But that is something that she's attempting to do. And I think, with the fact that she's going above and beyond to be there for other people, she just wants that same respect, and going back to the whole narcissist thing, it's like she's going above and beyond to show up for her friends when they need that, and no one is showing up for her.
Right. In previous seasons, her friends have actually tried to rein her in, to get her to not be the center of attention all the time. They've said, hey, we don't like how you're acting. The way she tried to ostracize Ginny after she found out that Ginny and Marcus were sneaking around behind her back. She tried to get everyone to stop being Ginny's friend.
And again, I think that's just a child experience that,
unfortunate.
I experienced that in elementary school. The most popular kid, if they're like, we're not going to be friends with Justice today, all the girls, even the boys that just wanted to be a part of what's up with
in crowd?
The in crowd. What's up with the boys following the girls in elementary school? That's the weirdest thing. Anyway, they would be like, oh, we're just going to be mean to Justice. You don't even know what you did. It's just that mean girl thing that they do. And so watching this kind of triggered those emotions, where that was a time where I'm like, okay, I don't want to be a bully. I want to help those who are being bullied.
Yeah.
And show up for them. And so I'm like, this is a childhood experience that every kid goes through. So it sucks that she did that, but I think she felt like I was bringing you in and bringing you close when no one else was noticing you. And then you go behind my back, because I felt like she felt like you were trying to be friends with me because you wanted to be with my brother. That's
probably what happened.
And that is kind of messed up, because people do that. They're be friends with people just to get to know their friend or their sibling.
But that's an insecurity on her part. And I'm not, saying that that's not valid, because obviously she was dating her brother behind her back. But I don't feel like that. Ginny was not malicious. I think we're not doing a review of the show, but that's the thing that happens, where sometimes things could be resolved with a conversation where they blow things out of proportion, because there was no reason for Ginny to keep this a secret.
Yeah.
And there was no reason for Max to feel any sort of way about it. It's just, we have to make it dramatic for the TV, for the ratings. But outside of that, my thing about her being a narcissist is that she's making the effort in the third season to change, and her friends aren't seeing that. They spent the entire season ostracizing her, not letting her know that. They weren't treating her badly, they just weren't including her. Mm-hmm. And some things she just wasn't there, and they
intentionally though. They said we're not going to.
There were times when, she just wasn't there. And then afterward, they're like, oh, we're not going to tell her because she's going to blow it out of proportion. Yeah. She's going to make this a thing. And when the redhead was saying that I forget her name, but when the redhead was saying that, I like this girl and I can't tell Max because Max is going to be upset because she's supposed to be the queer one. And it's just like, she might, but is that a reason to not tell your friend this thing that you've just told everybody else?
That was a little weird.
And it wasn't a secret.
She felt like she was competing. And I think that's another thing. People, as a kid, do you always find yourself in a situation that some people make it feel like you have to compete for everything?
Yeah, I don't understand that. But I do understand it, because even with adults, that is a thing. We absolutely feel like we are I don't know if we feel like we're competing, but there is definitely a sense of envy sometimes. Like when you're, when you're having success in your career, sometimes you don't want to tell your friend who is struggling with their career. And it might not be a competitive thing. It might be, I'm just being sensitive. And then you didn't tell me that you had this promotion and now everyone knows this thing and you're keeping this from me. So it is something that follows us through life, right? But I think that we need to be okay with not only other people's success, but our own success, and be, I don't know the right words to say, but I do feel like it is a common thing that is prevalent throughout our lives. Like, when we get to our old age, our retirement village, like, are you going to be in the villa or are you going to be at the Medicaid facility that, smells like pee? Like
where are you going to be? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the game of life, Are you going to be in the billionaire estates? Or are you going to be in, some downtrodden,
Yeah. Or are you going to be in your home by yourself?
Right.
And, hoping that somebody's going to come visit.
But I think the point is maybe you start now or start as a teenager and you build up some resilience for that type of stuff. But either way it goes, the final answer, she's not a narcissist. She's trying to change. And I just wish that the kids would give her the opportunity to do that. Because, also, let's recognize.
People online too. Sorry.
Keep online.
The people who are online as well give her the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're just watching a TV show, you don't care about their feelings. Because, I hope the actress is not getting hate for, because that sometimes.
Playing her role.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they hold that against the actors, and it's just like she's doing a good job, and the writers are making the effort to show that she's trying to change. Like the scene where she goes to her mom and says, like, I'm not mad. I just want them to know that they can include me, or I feel a way about it. And I think that they should know, because any friend would want to know that I feel bad. Right. And the mom is like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
And she wasn't wrong, because the friends were just like, yeah, you can be mad if you want to be.
She's like, I'm not mad.
And they were just like cold, like shut her down completely. I felt so bad for Max.
I felt bad for her too, because this is the thing though. When someone tells you and say, I'm not mad.
A lot of times they are.
Yes. Yes. If that's the first thing that comes out their mouth and they say, I'm not mad, but if you included me, and then they start throwing some jabs, and it's like, see, this is why I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
And so you can't really say that maybe she wasn't mad a little bit, because that was her first line to try to defend herself and say, I'm not mad. Right. And so as soon as you do that, everybody in the room is going to get defensive.
We just assume that you're mad because you said you're not mad. But the thing is, this is a TV show, and we got a glimpse into her talking to her mom, and she's like, I'm just hurt. And I understood that, because literally they were keeping these things from her, and she's like witnessing it in real time that, my friends are not being friendly to me
after all these years.
Yeah. That, I think it sucks. I felt for her more than I felt for anybody, and Georgia was in jail for a good long time this season. So I felt more for Max than I did for Georgia, but I think Georgia brings a lot of shit on herself. So there is that.
Boom.
But anyway, not just.
How did you feel about her brother?
How did I feel about Marcus? So here's the thing. From the beginning, Marcus is described as this dark and broody neighbor boy. And by the end of the second season, we learn that he's suffering from bouts of depression, right? In season 3, his depression leads to alcohol as a coping mechanism rather than turning to the people around him. And my question is, why doesn't he reach out to his support system for help?
I think the reason why Marcus doesn't reach out to his support system for help is, one, I don't think he realizes he has a support system. And I say that because he retracts a lot, and he retreats in his own mind and space. And when anybody does try to help him, he doesn't feel like they're really trying to help him. And therefore he feels like, I'm just a burden to you guys. That's the only reason why you're around. And so this is, it doesn't, like, I mean, I know I've dealt with depression. I haven't dealt with depression the way this character is. Well, maybe I did. But it took a few years for me to get through it, and I had to acknowledge it and really put in the work to get over it, right? But with this character situation, you know, we discover that he lost a friend to leukemia at a very young age. And I think this was at the time where he felt like no one's truly understanding how I'm feeling about this loss of my friend. Everyone might be saying, oh, I feel your pain, but they really don't get my pain.
Right.
You know, and I feel like it's really upsetting to see a child that might not understand the emotions that they're going through, and not have a parent that is willing to put them through therapy. If they're not able to help them through this or understand those emotions, they should be a parent that is understanding that it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
And that's where a lot of young parents don't seem to miss the cue, you know? And
old parents too.
Oh, there you go. And now you have a kid that feels like he's broken or just unworthy of any type of support from anybody because he's lost.
Yeah. I think that he does have the support system. They may not be showing up the way they need to, the way that he needs them to, but they are there. They do reach out to him. There are a number of scenes each episode where they show up in his doorway and say, how can I help you? What do you need? And he pushes them away. Like, I do believe that they are there for him. They're just not showing up the way he needs. And maybe he is pushing them away because maybe he reached out in the past, or maybe he's just not felt the support that he needed. But right, I can't knock them, not for not giving him therapy, because I think he clearly needed therapy as a child because he was showing signs of this in that flashback scene, you know, but at the time, maybe we don't know whether or not that happened before or after his friend passed away.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, a nugget of information that would be important here. But outside of that, they are showing up in that way for him in his depression, but not in getting him actual help, and certainly not enough with the alcoholism. Yeah. Because the number of bottles in that garage tells me that for days or weeks, he's been drinking in that garage and no one knows.
I mean, he's been literally going to his father's alcohol cabinet and drinking from that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then he has his best friends that are enabling him with a fake ID to go get drinks. You know, going back to the support system, I think the thing that's hard with the family is that what I started noticing something, and it wasn't till just now that it hit me. They kept saying, what can I do? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
This isn't like you. And when you're speaking to someone who is having an internal breakdown, to hear those words don't come out as, I'm here to support you. It's almost like they're being chastised for
not wearing a mask.
There you go. And it's hard for them to be like, okay, well, I can't tell you what I'm feeling because I don't understand what I'm feeling. And the only thing you can do is ask me, what can I do?
Right.
And what I need for you to do is probably just to hug me tight, put me in the car, take me someplace. But even with that, it's like, it still has to be on their terms if they're going to be receptive or acceptive to the help that's being given to them.
Yeah.
And
you have to accept the help.
Yeah, you have to be willing to accept the help. And he's not willing to accept the help from Ginny. Like, okay, his family, they want to come at him like that. But Ginny, she's really trying to meet him at the place that he needs to be met.
Except that she's also asking something of him, and he does not, either he doesn't have it or he doesn't feel like he has it to give. Like, everyone asks something of him, like the dance, the sequence, this episode with the dance. Like, everyone's like, just go to this dance, just go to this dance. And he goes and, continues to mess up his future. Like, he does not have good coping mechanisms, and he feels like he's supposed to show up in a way, and he can't do that. And it's going to screw up his future, unfortunately. Like, we were talking about him seeing through the BS.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's showing up, and I don't know if he's pretending so much as he's just not feeling like he fits in with the rest of the world. Yeah. He sees the world in one way, and everyone else is just like masked up. They're showing one type of persona, and he's like, this is fake. This is phony. Everyone is dealing with some crap, or they're dealing with some issue that he's seeing through, and he can't do the same thing, or he's refusing to. And it's a burden to him.
It's a heavy burden.
Yeah, absolutely.
I find it interesting, the whole dance thing. He woke up on the playground.
The same playground that he was at with his friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought about that. I mean, it shows that he's still struggling with his inner child. And it's weird that he wasn't even able to share that with his sister when she's like, where were you?
Well, I think that was mostly because he was drinking and she's onto him. Like, she's the first person. Well, Georgia is the first person who figured it out, because he steals her wine. And then Georgia gives Max the heads up. She finds the wine bottles.
All the alcohol bottles.
Yes. And so she is onto him. And he can't tell the truth, because otherwise you'll know that I drunk so much, I blacked out in the playground. And he doesn't want that to be known, because then they're going to actually get him help. And he doesn't want help. Sometimes people don't want help. So he's not going to accept that.
Yeah.
So he's going to pretend. And he's not going to get help, and it's just going to get worse unless someone steps in. And Max does everything she can to get them to realize it. And the mom is still like, no. I think she's going to be a problem.
I mean, it wasn't until the final episode, not the final episode, maybe the episode before, where she did her play and she grabbed his bottle of like Gatorade or something like that.
Yeah.
And drank it, and was like, gave it to the mom.
Yeah.
Or the father, and they smelled it or something, or drank it. And they just can believe, like, right next to, it's like, he was
doing it right next to them.
This is what I mean when I say she tries to put on this perfect mask. She's doing this play. And it's so cool that she's a drama student, because this is what we pull from when you're in acting. You pull from your pain. That's usually the place that you can go to really deliver your lines. But she is on stage. She's dealing with a breakup on stage. She's dealing with her friends not showing up and finding out, like, looking at her friends in the audience that this girl is with this other girl, you know? She's looking at her brother drink from this bottle that she knows has alcohol in it, and these parents that's just not paying attention to what's going on. She's literally delivering her lines as she's singing. Her eyes are telling the story of what her real focus is on. But she has to
put a face on.
And so I think, I mean, you said that was your favorite character in season 3.
Her story was my favorite.
Her story is a favorite, yeah. And it kind of resonated with me too. To be honest, I just wanted to knock Marcus upside the head a few times. But yeah, this is the thing. He's dealing with this, going back to Marcus, everything that he's doing is based on a lesson that he learned when he was younger. Let me retreat versus engage.
Yeah.
If I show my feelings, maybe he's not getting the response that he's looking for. So therefore, I'm just going to swallow everything. And the only way that I can digest it or keep moving forward is to drink my problems away.
Yeah.
And maybe if I just black out a few more times, they would go away permanently.
Yeah. I related to Marcus quite a bit just because when I was a kid, I didn't lose anyone the way he did, but I was the youngest of 3 and my siblings were a lot older than me. And so I was the kid running around looking for attention when they were the teenagers who didn't want to be bothered. And so I retreated to books. It wasn't alcohol. I really didn't drink before I was in my 20s before I really started drinking. And I never got to, until COVID, at which point I, drank as much as Marcus did.
I think a lot of people did.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was definitely something that I recognized, just that whole, if I'm going to be comfortable, I need to be in my own space. I need to control my environment because I didn't have that safe space to go to, So I recognize his issues, and I hope that his mom can get over whatever it is that she needs to get over so that she can get him help.
Yeah.
But I think that season 4 is definitely going to be, we're going to get a little bit more of his mom because something's behind that.
Yeah.
She's really trying to teach her kids to stuff these feelings down, and that's not good.
That's not good. So if you're a creator or writer on this show,
hit me up.
Hit her up. You know what I'm saying? But we got some expectations for you guys to deliver on.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they have to be setting up some kind of, inner child work for her to figure out, because she's definitely, I see it in both of her, in how she interacts with both of her kids. She's trying to stuff things down and not deal with them.
Yep.
Question. Do you think that the connection that Marcus and Ginny have is genuine, or is this just a toxic thing that's going on between them?
I think the relationship that they have, Marcus and Ginny, may be a combination of both. It's toxic in the sense that they're both dealing with some major issues, and they're putting the responsibility on dealing with these issues or how to navigate them on each other. And these are kids trying to navigate grown folk issues.
Yeah.
Right? And so that is a huge red flag for the relationship. When it comes to their love for each other, this is her first love. Both of theirs. And these are feelings that they cannot fight against. I think Marcus is trying to be a more mature individual in this instance, by saying, if I can't be with me, you can't be with me. Which is kind of dark at the same time, now that came out my mouth.
It did. It was very poetic.
I was like, damn. Poetic justice. So it's one of those things like he's pushing her away because he loves her so much and doesn't want her to travel down this dark road.
Yeah, but he won't do anything to help himself.
That's the sad thing about it.
Yeah.
Why? So that's where I stand. I think it's both. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think that I wonder if first love is just going to be, I don't know. A lot of people think first love is like really sweet, but I do think that there's some kind of toxicity because it's always like me, us, us. And it's way too early for that type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But
especially at that age.
Yeah.
But, during that age, that's where you do feel the most emotions and you put them out on your sleeve.
That's why it's the hormones. It enhances it in a way that I don't think is healthy. And maybe it's not toxic. It just might be unhealthy.
Do you remember your first love?
No, I was an adult. I was not a teenager. I mean, I do remember it.
I was like, girl, do you remember as a
I do remember it, but I was not a teenager at the time. So I think we did it.
I think we did it.
We did it.
Good
so
job.
It's time for you to do the homework. And this week's homework is to reflect on your childhood and employ healthy coping mechanisms.
Such as?
Journaling.
Taking the dance class.
Talking to a mental health professional, not us.
Not us. You can say we watched the show.
Yes.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
Help
us get a viewer.
Yes. Exercising.
Doing anything that addresses a childhood wound, like maybe talking to a parent or a sibling, someone who's been through some of the things that you've been through. Doing anything that's going to help you in the future.
Yes, I agree. Do anything that's going to help you along your journey and healing your inner child.
Yeah. All right. And it's time for after school. We take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. Justice.
Yeah.
What you working on?
I'm working on some personal projects.
Oh.
I'm trying to get my shit together.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
And you guys will be seeing it soon.
Oh, is it something for us to see?
Yeah, something for you to see.
I'm excited.
So I'm excited too.
Yeah.
What about you, friend?
I am working on strength training. Yeah, it's funny. I went to a wedding yesterday and the lesbians were out with their arms, the lesbian arms, the butch stud arms. They were out.
You think they worked out for this wedding?
I don't know, but I am so jealous. I was like, oh no, I gotta get back on it. Like I'm like the vest. I didn't know that was a thing.
Wait, they were wearing vests?
They were in vests, yes. I was like, okay, look here. Y'all cannot be putting me to shame this way. I'm going back to the gym. And I need to be pumping it up,
You want them to see your veins and that.
I don't need you to see my veins, but I just need, the triceps need to be popping a little bit more. The bicep need to be popping. I need to get these little small muscles to be doing something, because like they put me to shame and I'm not having it.
They put you to shame, but yet you're still willing them in.
Willing what? You wheeling them in?
You're still reeling them
Reeling them in. No, I'm not.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not doing that at all.
Okay, self-care.
Self-care. What are you doing for self-care, my friend?
I'm going to relax, relate, release.
Yeah.
And listen to some self-help books. That helps me get my day going when I'm starting my day, taking a walk and everything with my dog. And even when I'm working. So it's, it's almost like white noise in the background. And you wake up. Sometimes I fall asleep listening to them. And when you wake up, I feel a little refreshed. I'm like, oh, I had a thought. Maybe it wasn't a thought. Maybe it wasn't a thought. Maybe it was just something that I heard on the self-help book. But,
Subliminally, you are getting self-help?
subliminally I'm getting they say when you're sleeping, that's the best time to like really try to take in some things.
Yeah. I thought there was more memories, but that's, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. What? Like learning math and things like that?
No, not that. But I heard it on a podcast that when you sleep, that's when your memories are solidified. That getting the rest you need is when all of the things that occur to you, your short-term memories are baked into your brain. Now, I don't know whether or not that's right, but I do find sleep science fascinating. So.
I mean, I wake up and I don't remember some short-term memories, so I don't know.
I mean, are you getting good, deep REM sleep? That's the question. Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah. You owe me a Coke.
Okay. What are you doing for your self-help?
For self-help, I'm going to listen to my therapist. My therapist has been suggesting for quite some time now that I sit with my shit and not, do maladaptive coping mechanisms. I typically I will, if I have a bad feeling, I go and grab a drink. I do a little toking. I go to sleep. Sometimes I'll do something that is healthier. Like if it, depending on the time of day, I might call someone, I might do something, but I don't typically, sit with my feelings. I find a way to distract myself. And so she's just like, sit with your feelings. And I'm like, but they're painful. Why would I do that?
What if you don't have feelings and you just know?
Well, that does seem like you are pushing your feelings down because you do have them. So, yeah, you should probably work through that, my friend.
I will.
Thank you. Do it for me.
Okay, for the time capsule.
Yeah. For the time capsule. What you got for us?
For the time capsule, I'm bringing out my Converse shoes, girl. Back in the day, I used to play t-ball, and I played for a team called the Tomboys. And the color of the team's jerseys were blue, gray, and white. And so I had white and dark blue Converse high top sneakers. And so I would mix match and wear one white and one blue because, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
child of the 80s.
I have some Converse in my closet, but they're a different style, and I don't think they look right when you mix match them. You got to have the old school.
Okay.
Converse.
If you want to have the real deal look.
Yeah. So I kind of miss those days. So yeah.
Understood.
And what about you?
I am going to pull out an old store that I don't think exists anymore. Books A Million.
Okay.
Do you remember Books A Million? No? Well, I used to get, for birthdays and Christmas, I would get gift cards from bookstores because I loved books so much. I used to read a book a day. Like when I say I related to Marcus, going inside, I used to just read constantly. And books were my thing. And I used to love the times when someone would take me to, usually my mom would take me to the bookstore to get books. And Books A Million was that store. I mean, obviously I went to the library and Barnes and Noble, but yeah, I'm going to pull out that old gift card from Books A Million.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it. It's time for a little extra credit.
Extra credit. I always loved extra credit.
I did too. I mean, I didn't always do it because I always had good enough grades where if it was just an option to do it, I was not that student that I'm going to do it just because it's an option.
I did it if I could get over 100%.
Yeah.
Overachiever, maybe.
May have.
So if you want to be an overachiever in this thing called healing your inner child.
Yes.
Why not follow us on Hopscotch-N-Jacks-Pod on Instagram? You can also write to us on hopscotchnjackspod@gmail.com and let us know what you're thinking. If you'd like to see a specific episode addressing certain inner child issues. And then if you like to really get to know us,
You should follow us at Karen Got This and
at Art of Justice. That's with the IS, not an ICE. And subscribe, like, follow, and comment below. And of course, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform.
yeah.
And I think that's the show.
That's about it.
That's all we got.
Peace.
Deuces. Peace up. ATL down. I did it again.
Why?